You're my special friend.
Welcome, guys, back to another episode of Special Friends Podcast. It's your boy Wuzi, and I'm here with
Earoke.
And we're back with another episode. Before we get into it, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe. As always, if you haven't already, rate the podcast 5 stars. Rate the podcast 5 stars. Rate the podcast 5 stars on both Apple Music and on Spotify. If you enjoyed it, we don't want you to give no false ratings, but if you enjoy it, help us out. Rate it on Spotify. Let's get straight into it. How you feeling?
It's okay to give false ratings.
No, it's not okay to give false. Come on now. It's okay to give. It's okay to be malicious.
You have to say it 3 times, like Dr. Umar, for it to stick.
You know,
the repetition.
You learn, and you apply.
Yep.
Learn, and you apply. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good.
Okay.
It's a good day.
It's a good day.
Good weekend I've had.
What's making it good?
It's a nice, beautiful day. I told you that earlier. Really good weather. We're recording. I usually enjoy recording. I have a get together later today.
Nice.
Some fun stuff planned for tomorrow.
Nice.
So I'm in a good mood.
That's good.
Yeah.
Nice. Anything new happened during the week? Last week?
Anything new? I mean, I had ramen and rom-coms last night.
How was that?
It was fun. It was just a lot of technical difficulties that I had to navigate.
Yeah.
But overall, everyone had a good time, and the movie was engaging, interesting.
I know you said you're looking for like a thriller. Like, was that the fix you're looking for, or was it like it didn't hit the mark?
It was a thriller. So the thriller I was thinking was like more of a crime thriller, whereas it was like more of like investigative, kind of like more from like the cops POV. This one was more like murder thriller. It was about a serial killer. So I mean, I enjoyed it, but yeah, I was hoping for a little different. But one of our community members picked it, and everyone liked it, so it was fine.
Do me a favor. Can you put your mic down a little bit?
Okay.
I just don't want it to be like in your eye.
It's okay. It needs to be. Maybe if I sit up more.
Oh no, I just want to make sure it wasn't in your eye. my vision's off. But explain to people what ramen and rom-coms is. People who don't know.
So ramen and rom-coms is a virtual watch party that I host every November. And I've been doing it now. This is the 4th year that I'm doing it. I originally created it because it was, of course, like still during the pandemic. A lot of people were feeling isolated, including myself. I really wanted an opportunity to connect with my friends that I grew up with, friends from college, current friends, and also family that I probably don't get to see as often. And so I just wanted a space for us to come together, watch a good movie, share different recipes around ramen because I like ramen, and they can share like whatever they're chomping on as well. But yeah, it was just like a community space that people can get together, not spend a lot of money. It's getting colder in November. Holidays are coming up. I just feel like it was affordable, easy, accessible, and you still be in a community without feeling so isolated.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
That's what's up. This is your 3rd year doing it?
4th year.
4th year doing it.
Yeah.
That's what's up. Wow.
No.
You can do it next year?
I would do it next. I'm thinking of a different way to do it because I've always wanted to do like the last one in person, but I haven't had the opportunity to do that yet. So I'm hoping next year to do one in person at least. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you can get that to happen.
Yeah. Just got to plan ahead a little bit better.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Oh, and I already spoke to a restaurant who's might be willing to sponsor. So
that's even dope. That's even more cool.
Yeah. I just have to have those meetings and get on their books. So
get on the books.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. Well, I'll start about my week. I'm happy that daylight saving, like we're past daylight savings time, but I didn't really believe in daylight savings time for a while. I'm like, I don't really feel the difference. This last time, man, I feel like I've been sleeping like a baby, and like I don't want it to go back. Like I feel like when they take that hour away, I always feel like I'm waking up just an hour too early.
Yeah.
And late, like now, I'm like, man, I feel like I've had a good rhythm. Like I wake up like circadian rhythm is in alignment, and so I've been getting a lot of good. Well, I haven't been sleeping much this week, but when I do get my sleep, I've been feeling good. So that's been dope. And I'm also just been inspired lately. It's a lot of good content out there right now that's like, got me excited.
Getting you
A lot of
juiced.
interviews. Yeah, it's just, and then it's wintertime too. They talk about the winter arc,
Right.
getting ready for the rest of the year. So just again, a lot of ideas in the head, and I don't know, I'm just excited. I'm excited for the rest of the year, excited for next year. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. Had a good week last week. I don't remember my work week. I just went through that thing. I just existed, which is good. That's how I want to be. I just want to exist at work.
Yeah, you just showed up.
Well, not just showed up. Like I show up and do my job, but I just, I'm like, I do my job and I go home and then get back to what I feel like is important to me.
Yeah.
So that's been pretty dope. And amazing.
Amazing. That's what you said? Amazing.
Okay.
Okay.
But that's how I said it.
Yeah.
Any other things happened during the week?
Not really. My week was fine. It's just not anything major, I guess.
Nothing major.
Yeah.
Regular week. Are those ones you prefer? Like, do you prefer your week to be packed or do you prefer your week to be slow?
I prefer my week to be slow. Because most of the time, at least in the last year or 2 years, my weekends have been packed. So I prefer a slower week because I know I have stuff to do every weekend almost now. So
is there a reason why?
Well, partially I belong to a church community now, so I'm usually there on Sundays. Other reasons, it's just my friend's been really active this year, and I've been trying to show up and be intentional about being in space with people and making memories and sustaining relationships and stuff in that way.
Isn't that what you're looking for though?
Yeah, that was my intention for the year. Yeah. It's just been a lot.
She's like, I didn't know.
Yeah, because usually like I try to do like 2 weekends at home, 2 weekends like out and about if needed. But now it's just like every weekend there's something. So
trying to be like you. Psych. I'm definitely the bad friend. Was like, get invited. I'm like, nah, I can't make it.
Yeah.
Did you even check? Nah, I just don't feel like going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
You prefer packed weeks?
You know me. My pack week is different though. Like I should say I don't prefer it. I like a good mix of work and play.
Yeah.
I think that's where I strive, where I can like do something that's important to me and then later on do something that's fun. I think that balance for me works really well. So, I mean, granted, it also just makes sense given that I used to be a workaholic. So it's like now, like,
yeah,
it's like part of the, making the joke, like part of the workaholic nature comes from being ADHD and like don't want to sit around. Like the concept for me of sitting around watching TV all day just bothers me. Like I get like, I feel like a little puppy with the zoomies. Like I got to do something. So I'd rather be working. But I found out by hanging out, I can kind of get that same thing where it's like, oh, I'm doing something, even though it's like not. The only problem is just making sure it's like your finances in order because you ain't trying to do something like. I'm not a club goer, so I'm not going to go to the club every weekend. I'm not, like certain things. So it's like trying to find people doing stuff and keeping myself busy, like go to downtown and figure out what's going on. Stuff like that probably is like my good middle ground where I prefer to be. But right now it's very heavy work season, which I'm not mad at either. Something about getting off work and getting to the grind just takes me back 2020, what was that, 2016, 2017? Yuck. Hustle hard. That's funny. But I'm glad you had a good week. We got more than a few topics to touch on today. So let's get into it pretty much.
Okay.
I don't know, is there one that you wanted to touch on first? You had a lot to say about
Which one?
No, which one did you want to touch on first?
I'm fine with starting with anyone.
Yeah, I love how, the funny thing about Ariel, she'll never ever be straightforward. It's always got to be whatever works.
No, I've been working on letting go of control. I used to be a super controlling person. So I've been trying to fix and let go sometimes, to let others lead sometimes and make decisions sometimes, and
Let God.
huh?
And let God.
And let God, yeah. Let's acknowledge Quincy.
Oh yeah. Much love to Quincy Jones family. Much prayers and again, just sending out healing to his family. Granted, he passed away as an elder, passed away at 91. Yeah, we lost a great, pretty much. It's one of those things where you don't realize how deeply ingrained a person is into culture until the person's gone. And I mean, it sucks that it's that way, but I know I've noticed that lately. I've been in that realm of like when someone passes away, doing a lot of research in their life and realizing like, wow, they were doing a lot and have done a lot in their life. And Quincy's definitely one of those people who was moving the needle forward. So yeah, again, prayers to the family, wishing them all healing. I know he left a bunch of daughters behind. So hopefully they're taking it well, and hopefully people are giving them their space. But go ahead.
No, I'm just letting you get it out.
Oh, I wanted to say though, I wanted to like, talk about some of the things that he did, like his impacts on the world.
Yeah.
So is there any ones that stand up to you?
I was going through like the movies he's helped produce, and I think he wrote on a few, and there was a few that, well, quite a bit, but the ones I listed were like celebrating the Black culture. So there was The Wiz, which you mentioned like is your mom's favorite, right? The Color Purple, In the Heat of the Night. I don't know if you know that movie. Menace to Society, They Call Me Mr. Tips, and Get Rich or Die Trying, which I did not know he had any involvement with Get Rich or Die Trying, but I love that movie. But he was also on movies that are like Black culture, which was like Austin Powers. I didn't know he had any involvement with that.
I think didn't he play? Wasn't he a cameo in that movie or something?
I think so, in one of them, because there was like 3 different ones, right? The Italian Job, which I used to watch all the time with my dad, and Their Eyes Were Watching God, and like a whole bunch of other ones. But just from that alone, because we know that he was heavy in the music industry, like as well, and making, like you said, trailblazing a lot of things in that arena as well. But just thinking about the movies, I was like, dang, like he really like touched so many different genres and so many different films that we uphold and still like value in our culture.
Exactly. Like, I mean, some of the most notable, like the thing that we have high praises for, obviously not everything, but he was involved in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Like the ones that said that to me, obviously, was I'm a big Fresh Prince of Bel-Air fan. So obviously Quincy Jones, you can't say Fresh Prince of Bel-Air without saying Quincy Jones. Like,
yeah,
it's literally like hand in hand. And I love that show with all my heart. And I feel like it was just, it's like one of those shows that for me, who didn't grow up in like the hood, like I could kind of relate to, where it's like there's like both sides of it. Like, you got like the struggles that Carlton's going through, and then the struggles that Will's going through, and then kind of also being like from like this, I don't know, just the whole dynamic of the show was just like,
yeah.
So I say ahead of his time, because man, like, or maybe it was perfect for his time, because everything around that time was very introspective like that. Really appreciate that. And then also, I didn't know that he had his production company helped produce Mad TV, which is like, if people don't know what Mad TV is, it's like a sketch comedy show. Like think of SNL with the skits. It was like that style of show. And it was like very underrated. A lot of good actors, or a lot of good comedians were on that show that I think they end up going to SNL and things like that. I remember, what's the Asian guy? I can't remember his name. Bobby Lee. You know who Bobby Lee is?
Sounds familiar.
You gotta know who Bobby Lee is.
Was he doctor? Is he a doctor now?
No. You think about the other guy. No, he's the little Korean guy.
I probably know him if I see him.
I'll pull up a picture real quick. But while I'm pulling up this picture, Bobby Lee, I remember that's where I found Bobby Lee, and I always thought Bobby Lee was hilarious. There's always a skit. There's a skit about flashlights. Man, so good. So good.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah, he was early on there.
Really?
Yeah, he was on Mad TV. So
Okay.
it's like, I remember, so again, this like I said, Quincy had his hand in one way, shape, or form. Obviously the Wiz and the color purple. And then obviously the three most popular, I'm gonna say, I don't know about the facts, but I think they're the most popular Michael Jackson albums, Off the Wall, Thriller, and Bad. So it's like, shout out to Quincy Jones. And again, another thing inspiring. This is very inspiring to really sit in that and like, man, wow, this guy, like, just reflected on my own life, like, obviously he's 91, he lived a long life, but it's like, how impactful are we being with our lives sometimes?
Yeah.
Not saying that we're all going to be that level, but it's like, is there things that I'm saying no to that I could have been like, why not be a part of? I don't know. I think about that and I'm inspired by him as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely inspirational. How do you find out that he passed?
How did I find out he passed? Like everybody else, social media.
Were you like just scrolling and you just saw like a post about it?
No, I get Google News alerts.
Oh, okay.
So Google News let me know that
He passed.
Yeah.
You want to know how I found out?
Oh. How?
I was on Instagram and Kevin Sage made a video in a story, and he's just like talk about Quincy Jones's like accolades and like different work that he really appreciated. But I thought it was just a general post because Kev does it a lot. Like he, even when someone doesn't pass, like he talks about them and acknowledge them, people who inspire him. So I was like, oh, that's cool. He giving
somebody flowers.
Quincy his flowers. Cool. Didn't pay no mind. I got on TikTok later that night and somebody posted like something about, it was a video about this girl telling her grandmother that Quincy Jones died.
You thought it was a joke.
No, I didn't think it was a joke. I just confirmed like, that's why Kev was making the video. But that's how I found out. I was like, wait, Quincy Jones died.
It's like, wait, what? Nobody told me. Nobody informed me of this.
Like, you telling your grandma, but you telling me too.
Like, we all learned this at the same time.
But it was funny because the grandma said, oh no, bless his soul. Oh no, he was a young man. And they said, grandma, he was 91. He was a young man.
That is something though I'm learning more like about this older people at the time. They're like, that's still young for them.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I say it's still young for them. I can't remember who it was. I can't remember exactly who it was, and I wish I had it more clear in my brain. But I do remember the story vividly where he was saying that like this person was sharing a story about their dad and how their dad was getting old and getting sick. And he said the biggest thing that caught him was that in his eyes you can tell that he still felt like he was getting cheated. Like even though he lived to be in his 70s, he still felt like, he didn't have enough time. Like he was feeling cheated, which is like, again, was like kind of like inspired like, again, just trying to be intentional every day you have, because it's not gonna ever feel like it's enough. Like no one gets to 100 and like, whew, I got enough time. Now I'm good. It's like, no. Like my grandpa was in his 90s too when he passed away in 91, I think, as well. He kept making the joke, I can't wait to make it to 100. Hopefully I can make it to 110. So in his eyes, he's like, I got way more. I got 20 more years in me. So it's like, but that's just, I guess, disposition. So it's funny that she's saying he was a young man.
Yeah.
Like, no. He lived almost 100 years. That's
right.
Like
I was like,
decades.
that's cool. Like to live to 90.
Shoot.
Yeah. But it was other people in the comments like, not this how I found out Quincy Jones. So I was like, we all here together.
Yeah, we all just learned at the same time in the same frequency. That's how it goes sometimes. But with the passing of Quincy Jones, obviously a lot of stories, people will share tales and stories of their interactions with Quincy Jones. And because I like degeneracy,
Yes.
there was one that came up, and it's actually funny how I found out about it because Whack 100 brought it up.
Okay.
Saying that basically Whack 100 had his rhetoric that Tupac wasn't no gangster. He was like, he was soft or whatever. And he made that reference So, it's kind of like, oh, here we go. Roll my eyes, about to scroll up. And he mentioned that he got beat up by Michael Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, what? Like, why is this coming up again around the time of Quincy Jones' situation? And then come to find out that a guy was sharing a story that Michael Jackson put hands on Tupac for calling one of Quincy Jones' daughters a B word.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I shared this with Ariel because I grew up in an era, and again, it was so wrong, where it's like Michael Jackson was attributed to being very, very soft.
Yeah.
Like I remember it to be, obviously everybody say Kobe now when they shoot, but before it was Kobe, it was like Jordan, you shoot it and say Jordan too. And I remember like the joke we would make is that if you missed it, it's like, nah, that ain't Michael Jordan, that's Michael Jackson. So
I heard he used to be on the ball too. Right?
Listen, he might have again. One thing about Michael Jackson, he got a lot of mystery around him.
Right.
I mean, things are becoming more clear now, but at the time, he was an enigma. So again, like there was like these so because of that, hearing the story of Tupac getting the way the guy put it was like he got the best of him physically.
Mm-hmm.
Just sit me over, bro. I could not stop laughing, bro. I don't know why it cracked me up so bad. Because in my head, I'm also thinking about his little soft voice. Michael Jackson's soft voice, getting on him, and then also putting hands on him. I was like, I don't know. I don't know who I think Michael Jackson is at the end of the day. I'm like loving. I'm like, oh yeah, Michael Jackson was just another black man.
Yeah. And also, like, I don't know, was Pac known for fighting for real? Like, whenever those fights broke out, he was always like in a group.
Yeah. Well, the thing is more because it's gangster. It's like,
yeah,
I'm a tough guy. Ooh, I'm a tough guy. And not that I don't feel that way because I feel like, who am I to tell? I wasn't there. I don't know what his gangster was.
He could have been respecting Michael. Like, oh, like, I don't know, but I think that's still funny to imagine.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I think about, ever since I've heard the story, I think about it like maybe like twice a day. Because I was thinking about like I was thinking about, especially with the Mike Tyson fight that just happened.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't gonna talk about that. I don't want to talk about.
I don't know the outcome.
He lost, obviously.
Was he really in a wheelchair when he left? It was a video of him in a wheelchair.
I don't know if he was in a wheelchair when he left, but all I know is Mike Tyson should have never did that fight. Is that the we might as well go there. We already here. If y'all did not see the Mike Tyson fight, I advise y'all to go back and watch it because it was just sad. It was just like I never understood the hype.
I read somewhere it said like a 4-hour conversation or something, and I was like, what does that mean? What happened?
4-hour conversation. I don't know what they reference in there.
Oh, okay.
Because it was, like I said, it's 8 rounds, 2 minutes, so 16 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? 8 times 2 is 16. So, it was a lot. It was just a lot. It was just a lot. It was just very like, it's one of those things where like the crowd was so happy to see Mike Tyson get back in the ring.
Yeah.
But the moment he got in the ring, one of the announcers made the joke. We all hoped that Mike could like turn back the clock long enough to win this fight, to get one more knockout.
Mm-hmm.
But when he got in the ring, the stark reality of life really set in for everybody. Like Mike Tyson is 58 years old.
Yeah. Like what do we really expect?
And Jake Paul is 28 years old. Like there's a 30-year difference there.
Yeah. Okay.
So it was like, I don't know. For me, was it entertaining to see everything leading up to it, seeing Mike get back in that bag as far as like marketing and things like that? Like that was cool. It was dope to see Mike Tyson be working out like that, like at his age, because I think that's pretty freaking cool to be almost 60 years old, going to the gym every day, actually doing real workouts and stuff like that. I thought all that was dope. But once he got in that ring, I just got sad. I'm so sorry. I got so sad watching it. Well, because it's like I was sharing this yesterday. As someone who's to watch Mike Tyson's highlights a lot and like watch old fights, the thing that drew you to Mike was his amazing athleticism along with his power. Like he was fast and strong, young. Like I say, I think he started like there's like clips of him when he was 16, like boxing and again just getting it. So seeing that, never been able to go to a fight. And then they're selling you this dream like, oh, yeah, we're going to get Mike back again. He's looking good. He's looking like he's like 30. And you see, you're like, nah, dog, there's no way. Like, he was like very stagnant, you know. And then, like, there's like that thing, that part of like, and I will say shout out to Jake Paul for this, but it's also very weird where it's like, you could see Jake Paul, and I don't know, it sounds weird putting this in a sense, but he was holding back. Because he was a younger guy.
Yeah.
And Mike Tyson wasn't really moving that much. So he really could have like probably did more. But out of respect for who Mike Tyson is, it's like he's going to do what he's going to do, and which is like throw the little jabs from the distance and stuff like that and get his good hits in. Which I will say, Mike Tyson took a lot of good hits. Like for somebody his age to take those kind of hits is kind of crazy. Like, because one thing about Jake Paul is that his right hand is very strong. So for him to take for Mike Tyson to take a few of those really good ones, you know, says something to his neck strength and to his like resolve, but he just didn't have the speed there. And he didn't have the mobility. He was like trying to be mobile, but he just older. Like, you know, it just looks, I don't know. I just don't, I mean, shout out to Jake Paul for making all this money off the fight, but it's like, I don't know. I just felt weird about it. It didn't feel right.
Okay. I can see that.
Yeah. I mean, what was your thoughts about the fight leading up to it or in general?
I didn't know anything about it until I talked to Anthony. He was like, oh, I'm heading over to one of our other friends' house to like watch the fight. And I was like, okay, there's a fight happening.
It's 2 fights though. It was a Jones fight yesterday too, I think.
Oh, see? And then when I went to Netflix, obviously to start Ramen and Rom-Coms, it was the big banner, and I was like, oh, okay, like there's a fight going on. And I was like, but you know what really told me there was a fight? He did an interview with one of, you know how they have those kid interviewers now? He did.
Oh, you saw that one?
Yes.
That's a good thing. Talk about that. Yes.
What?
What's her name? Jazzy.
Yes.
Did that interview with Jazzy? Shout out to Mike Tyson. I'm so sorry. That interview has me weak every time I see that look. So if y'all don't know, obviously y'all know who Jazzy is. She's like the kid interviewer, and she interviews all these, you know, big celebrities. She interviewed Nicki Minaj, interviewed different people. So leading up to the fight, she interviewed Mike Tyson, and it was the funniest exchange I've ever seen. Tell him what happened.
So basically, the question she asked him was like, what do you want your legacy to be? Like, what legacy do you want to leave behind? And he basically said F legacy. Like, ultimately, essentially, that's what he said. He was just like, who am I to want people to think about me once I'm dead? I'm dead. I'm gone.
Well, yeah, because he was saying, he's like, legacy is just another word for ego.
Yeah.
He said, once we're dead, we're gone. Nobody is going to really like think about us. So for me to think about my legacy.
He was like, maybe my kids, but you know.
Yeah. For real. And he's like, but he kept saying too, like, we're all going to die. We're going to be nothing.
We're going to be dust.
Yeah.
We're going to be dust.
And mind you, Jazzy's like a little kid.
He's like
Jazzy
11, right? Like 10 or 11.
Yeah, she's like young. So she just sitting there like listening. And it was so funny because her reaction after he said, like, if y'all haven't, I'll put the link in the bottom. But y'all got to watch it because the way that she reacted in was like, thank you for sharing.
Yeah. She was just like, where do I go from here? Like,
yeah. Thank you for sharing.
And then he said something else, and she was like, yeah, I never heard anyone, you know, speak about legacy in that way. Thank you.
Yeah.
But it was just like, she was just like, oh.
Yeah. And again, I don't know what, you know, I just crack up because again, that's one thing about Mike Tyson I've always appreciate is that he is very like
himself.
Well, definitely himself. He's always been himself since day one, but he's like very stoic and very like deep person and understanding like, you know, it's dope to be called like the strongest man alive, stuff like that. He's like, but what does that really mean?
Yeah.
You know, what does that really mean? And And like I said, that's why that's the energy I feel like he was channeling when he was talking to her. But she's so young, she's like, that's not the answer I was expecting.
Yeah, she was. You can see it in her body language, her face. She was like this is a lot to.
Let me find out you gave Jazzy an existential crisis. That was hilarious. But yeah, shout out to Mike Tyson. Shout out to Jake Paul. Man, hey. But the benefit of this is that he said he's gonna fight. I think Ryan. I can't remember his last name right now. I can't remember his name, but it's a notable fighter. It's a fighter who's actual fighter right now that said that if he beats Mike Tyson, he'll fight him.
Oh,
we'll see if it happens, because that's the big argument people keep making is like Jake Paul has these strategic fights where he fights people who are either ex MMA or like Mike Tyson, like an older 58-year-old boxer.
Yeah.
So it's like one of those things where it's like, do we know if he can really box? It's hard to tell. We never seen him in the ring with other people. So I mean, granted, he's done like the spectacle of like bringing all this money and showing that it's possible to bring it, this much aura to boxing, because boxing was kind of dwindling for a little bit. So I think he's really invigorated like eyes to it. Because again, the Netflix stadium, that Netflix one was popping. Like it was Shaq there, Gronk there. Like it was a lot. Cedric the Entertainer, a lot of people there. So it was dope.
Could it be that he's like preparing to fight like people who are currently
preparing in what way?
Like, one, it seems like he's training. He's doing training behind the scenes. Like he's actually training, right, as a boxer, right? But like, one, it could be the angle, like you said, just bringing more eyes and making money and all the things. But this also could be a way of him training still to prepare for like a real, like someone who's currently in the boxing arena, right? Like in a sense.
No, I mean, I guess technically you could say that, but the point is like, it's kind of like the best way to explain is like I was talking to Richard yesterday about, it's like I'm gonna prepare to play for the NBA by playing Michael Jordan now. It's like, how does that make sense?
Okay.
Michael Jordan's retired, been gone, been out of it forever. How am I playing him? How's that gonna set me up to fight people who are playing right now? And how do I gauge? How do then you compare me to those people? Like Nate Robinson. He fought Nate Robinson, was a basketball player. What is that?
I get to like not being
Anderson Silva's
not being
retired
able
MMA.
to compare him to like the people who are in and out. I wouldn't do that, but I don't know.
I think it's really about the dollars.
The dollars, yeah.
I think
it was more like an entertaining thing.
Entertaining, but also he's using, which I'm not going to knock him for that. I think it's actually a positive. He's using what he has, which is his notoriety, to do things that people can never say they've done. Not a lot of people can say they've been in the ring with Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
And won on top of that. Like, I mean, granted, like however you see it, like he can literally say I was in the ring with Mike Tyson and won.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can put the stipulation it was 58, but then his eyes, he don't care. I fought Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
And won.
That's true.
So it's like he's doing things like that, like I think that's where a lot of it's coming from that perspective, which, hey, shout out to you. But the people in the boxing scene are like, I don't know if he's a good, like people can always ask, like, he's looking good. It's like, well, it's like a boxer versus street fighter. Well, yeah, he's going to look good compared to them. But like there's people who actually do this for a living.
Yeah.
And, they're also in their prime boxing, and he hasn't yet to fight those people. So it's hard to know where he gauges for real.
You think he's going to start fighting like in the actual? Oh.
I mean, I don't know, but I think he's very strategic about who he fights. So, his brother fought Floyd Mayweather, and I mean lost obviously, but it's just like they're just doing what they want to do, and I can't be mad if you got the ability to do it. Like I'm gonna tell you not to do it, so
I'm trying to be like that.
Huh?
I'm trying to be like that too.
Not me. Not like that. I mean, I want to be something similar, but man, I don't know. Anywho, but on the concept of like legacy and stuff like that, we got a lot of people building new legacies. Creating children.
Yeah. a lot of people creating lots of children.
Yeah.
Populating.
Go ahead. Both.
I'm gonna just say congratulations to Skai Jackson. You know, she's pregnant. She's an expecting mom right now. And I'm glad she finally came out, confirmed it after all the rumors. And, you know, the way people found out that she was pregnant was, I'm sure, not her ideal way of announcing that. And there's been a lot of conversation happening, backlash around who she's having a child with. But congratulations to her. She's creating a legacy with a man that we can't confirm.
Yerky.
Who is it confirmed that that's who that is?
Wait, that's where everybody else is at.
I don't know why they can't confirm it though. I don't know why people are just like, we can't say it's him. Like,
because his name is Yerky, and she won't say who his name is.
I guess, but apparently they met. Well, this is all allegedly alleged. They met from her commenting under a video of him getting arrested and going to jail, like him turning himself in or something like that. And that's how they quote unquote met. She, like, the mom responded to her comment or something, and that's how they got in contact. And apparently they were like buddies. What do you call it? Like when you're talking to someone in jail or whatever. And that's how they developed a relationship.
I mean, there gotta be some truth to that. She do got a shirt.
Yeah.
With his face on it tomorrow, free something.
Yeah. And her mom posted it, you know, a picture of her with the free. Yeah. So apparently that's how they met. And that's where the love story began. Since then, a lot of things have came out of seeing them. First, it was how we found out she was pregnant. It was the police report when it was
Universal Studios or something like
altercation between the two. And she was trying to protect herself. She's like, I'm pregnant, like, you know, whatever to the cop. And that's how it came out. People weren't sure if that was true or not, kind of just brushed it underneath the rug, kind of kept the eye out, but really was just like, okay, we don't know, whatever. It wasn't until like more recently when they saw pictures of her walking with him, looking a hot mess, very much pregnant, arguing in the streets again, where people were just like, no, it's true, and this is who it is. And then from there, the story just kept going about this man.
Yerky.
Yes, stating that he has 3 other children. Allegedly, that he killed one of his cousins.
See, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, unintentionally, I guess. I forgot. It was something unintentional death that they think he was involved in as a teen. And like gay allegations are coming out. Some guy came out.
They always talking about that.
I know, but
that always happens.
Some guy came out talking about they had a relationship and he needed to tell the truth. But that guy does that with other celebrities, so people are just like, we don't know, we don't believe him, you know. But yeah, so just so much things have been going on with with this couple and their unborn child. And it's, of course, causes discourse to think about other young Black girls who have grown up in the industry that people have a strong connection to, like Halle, you know, and they're comparing their situations now. Keke Palmer, they're comparing that situation now. People talk about they praying for Marseille.
I gotta stop it right there. We gotta stop right there. Pause. Put brakes on it. Ain't nobody comparing Skai and Yerky to Keke and Halle.
I've seen plenty of people doing it.
They're upset with them dating bums, but at least from what I've seen, DDG ain't what Yerky is.
Well,
And Keke Palmer, her fiance, whatever he was at the time,
yeah.
also wasn't no like. These are people who are also very much in the same realm or scout or like area
Yeah.
as them. Was Skai? Skai used to date Solange's son, and now you dating Yerky.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, and granted, I'm not here to judge nobody who they love. Love who you want to love.
Yeah.
But it is to beg a question of like, how can you like, I don't know. It's like a relating type of thing. Like, how can you relate to somebody
who's has like a completely different lifestyle than you?
Completely different lifestyle, but also like don't even like respect you from what I've seen. But first of all, I do want to say congratulations to her, and I wish her a safe pregnancy because again, she's still, even though she's young, pregnancy's still a lot.
Yeah,
and she's probably going through a lot. You know, she's trying to clean up for him. From what I've seen, you know, something will come out. Oh, his account got hacked.
Yeah,
that's not him. And here come the mama right behind her doing the same thing, which helps me think like Cap. And then it's like, so you pregnant and dealing with that, it's kind of a lot. You know, there was sayings that he made comments about Cameron Boyce, which if you don't know, Skai Jackson is from the show Jesse, and Cameron Boyce was a young boy on there with freckles who passed away. So he was like, kind of like just not empathetic to that situation. People always bring him up in concept to her because everybody love him. He was just like a one of those guys that you would like, one of those actors that you would just like love. Yeah. He's that lovable character. So you know how people are. So, but he ended up just disrespecting him. Mm-hmm. At least from what I seen on the live, like stop comparing me to that nigga dead type stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, like that's my big thing. Like for me about it is like, and I'll ask this because there's two things that come to mind. First of all, first question. Actually, I'm just gonna say this: is this something that we should be happy for?
I can't think of the saying, but you said something about people deserve. What does it say? You always say.
Oh, everybody get the world that they deserve. I definitely stand by that. Shout out to Chris. OG Chris, that's his. I'm not gonna steal his line. That's his line. We all get the world that we deserved in the end.
And from my understanding, because you know people do their quote unquote research or like follow these people more closely than I, follow them, and these are the type of men she's been dating. Apparently, she just happened to get pregnant by one this time, and it's just like, are we to be happy for that she is seeking out men that are disrespectful and maybe harmful in some way or toxic, and now you're having a child with this person? Like, it's happy that a new life is coming to this world, but it's just like you gotta think about co-parenting now with this person. And so I guess, I mean, overall people are just disappointed.
I will say this though, because I think to your point too about watching people a little bit closely. I think we do this a lot. We do this for Raven. We do this for everybody on Disney. Disney has this Disneyfication process in which we perceive this person as a super duper like clean, very wholesome, very this, that, and the third. And as someone who has seen Skai's content on Snapchat,
I follow her on Snapchat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. She definitely much give the same content that my cousins do.
Yeah.
It's very much in line. It don't feel like it's, it don't feel too much far off. I mean, just maybe like minus the drinking, but we don't know. Obviously, she probably don't post that part, but you know, it gives the same energy. I don't know what it is. It's like a subtle energy that I feel like, yeah, she just give like the same energy that my cousins give. And my cousins are very much part of the world. What?
Okay.
What's so funny?
I just was trying to see how you're gonna describe the energy.
Yeah, this is just very much part of the world, you know, very much like living, you know.
Young, wild, and free.
Oh, yeah, you can say that. Yeah, like very much like don't really care about what people think. And I don't think you should fully care about what people think, but like, you know what I mean? Like very much just doing whatever you want to do. And when you have money like that, I mean, why not? So like for me, I'm also not surprised in that sense.
Yeah.
Of that, like I said, not really thinking about any implications when you're dating somebody, because it's like, oh, this is who I'm attracted to. And you know, who am I to tell somebody how to navigate relationships and stuff like that? I got my own standards. And
obviously she's engaging in spaces to meet these people too.
Yeah, because again, how do you find out about somebody turn themselves in? That's what I'm saying. Like, it'd be different if like Yerky was like a child actor or something like that, and then went this way. It's like I have no clue, but shout out to. But again, because I don't want to make it about her, I do. Because like the question was like, should we be happy about this? And that's like a hard question.
I know.
I think her mom should be happy.
Yeah.
You know, I think her family should be happy. I'm always going to celebrate life. I think shout out to her being pregnant. But it is challenging, especially when she's acknowledged before in interviews that she's a role model. It is challenging to be happy for that, something like that. When you're aware that you're a role model and you like subconsciously promoting like behavior like this.
Mm-hmm.
And the big consistency people keep making is the fact that, oh, she don't got a ring, she got a ring. Not that the ring would have made a difference, but like, I mean, it probably would have made a difference, but and
her age. People are talking about her age a lot.
Yeah, because she's 22. I don't know. I just the conversation is very like, I don't know if we should be happy. I'll just say it like that. I'm not gonna say no, because I want to say no. We shouldn't be happy, but this is her life. This is her story. So I don't really want to. So maybe I would say like, you know, maybe we shouldn't care. We shouldn't care about it. But it's hard when you know it's pushed out there, right? Like we all have our own opinions.
Yeah, and it's been everywhere, so it's like hard to
dodge it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I'm happy for the pregnancy, but I'm not happy about the people involved, the supporting cast.
Right.
The supporting cast is bothering me. And
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And just the circumstances. Like just overall.
Absolutely. Like, yeah. But with that, you know, the thing I wanted to talk about was like that I always see people seeing people on the internet speaking about is this notion that, because like you said, you brought up Keke Palmer, you brought up Holly. You can also bring up Flo Milli. She just soft launched her pregnancy. They say Callie with 3 eyes is pregnant. You found out Naomi had a baby last year.
Yeah, I did not know.
You know, a lot of these black queens are having kids, and I think all the people we named didn't have a ring. I'm not too sure about Keke if she was engaged or not, but all of them, from what I understand, none of them were married.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of comments going around like, oh, these men are ruining these women's lives. Like the partners that they're picking are ruining their lives.
And they're all under 25 except for Keke.
Mm-hmm. So they're all young.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk about that because it's such an interesting like perspective to really think from. That I just say like this. I think it's weird. While I do think these guys are dud muffins, and I don't know them perfectly, so I can't say to them, but given the stunts we've seen in the media from some of them, minus DDG because I'm a DDG stand, they have done things that probably from outside looking in, we might feel like, why would you do something like that? But I feel like I don't like the rhetoric that these men are ruining their lives because these women chose these men and not only chose to date them, but also chose so far to have babies by them.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to like at what point is it in your eyes? At what point do you feel like somebody is responsible for who they date? Like it'd be different if they're like the only person I give a pass is what's her name? Diddy baby mom. The girl that Diddy was Cassie.
Okay.
Given what we saw going on in the situation, Cassie will be the only person I'm like, okay, Diddy ruined Cassie's life.
Okay.
5 sure. But these girls that I'm seeing now, I'm like, I don't see no situation where they were forced. If anything, they had the power, given that they were more notable.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What are your thoughts? Like,
I think on first date, we should hold people accountable to who they end up with. Like I've made myself poor decisions of who I was involved with, and I know that, and I hold myself accountable to that. But I also think about the state of mind, emotion, and maturity I was in at that time, insecurities I was dealing with at that time, and so I guess I hold a little bit of space or like empathy to kind of put myself in their shoes of like maybe why they're attracted to these type of men and why they decided their worth is aligned with these type of men that they're pursuing or engaging with, whatever. So I hold space for them there, but at the same time, it's just like, it's the rhetoric that comes after it from the picking sides thing that us as a community do. Because obviously no one has really truly held any of them accountable for being with these men to begin with. The only one they've been holding accountable low key is Skai, but the rest of them they really haven't.
Because Skai's the most egregious.
Yeah, because people don't like Skai already because she always was in drama before this. Like she's always had something going on, so people already had like a little ick towards Skai to begin with. But the rest of them they're just like, this is holier than thou, our girl, and this hoodlum or whatever they want to call these men is ruining her life, and I'm just like. But like you said, they with them, so I think it's a imbalance there of who they're holding accountable in the situation.
Yeah, and that's my thing too. Is like because I don't want this to turn into like these women need to be held accountable. Do they? Yes, but also my bigger picture is like kind of like what you said, understanding that people are in different spaces when they got together with each other or whatever's going on. I don't have a problem with like saying like this relationship is ghetto or this relationship is this and that, but I don't like the like, oh, this person's bringing the relationship down. We don't know the inner workings of the relationship.
Yeah.
Like for real, we know like the publicity stunts that we see, but I just think like we don't know. Again, we might feel like, oh, DDG goes out and does all these interviews and stuff like that, whatever. But we don't know what's going on behind the scenes as far as like what the other person could be doing in their interpersonal circle.
I think people are speaking more so towards the person's like career, like is damaging their image and maybe creating barriers for them in their career, like types of jobs they get or type of brands that want to work with them or whatever the case. I think people are looking at it more from that.
I think that's disingenuous because look at Kim Kardashian.
Well, she's not a black woman as well, too.
I mean, yeah, she's not a black woman, but we know that's why I challenge the rhetoric, because it's like, well, if we going to challenge everybody, then we need to do it, because how can Bad Baby do what she do and get all these brand deals? And I get it, it's definitely much a color thing, but it's not white people coming to black women and saying, who are you dating these men? It's black people doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. Like I feel like while I get it, like, you know, oh, these people could be stopping your career, this or whatever. This is who they want to be with, and because obviously DDG is very successful, and highly successful. You know, from what I understand, Keke Palmer's boo was also a trainer, so he was successful in his realm, and she was who she was. With Naomi Osaka, she's a successful tennis player, and Corday is a successful entertainer. So it's like I didn't understand that. You know, it's like what. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what y'all expecting.
Yeah.
You know
and
what I mean?
It's also like,
and they're young. Like
it's also like, are we supposed to be the people that hold them accountable? Like, shouldn't that be like more of an intimate family type of like?
And not to mention like who, like I said, what are we holding them accountable for? Because they had a baby outside of wedlock. Like everybody doing that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You got probably people in your family doing that.
Yeah.
It's like because they're taking their problems to social media, it's also where they get paid. So it's like, why be feeling some type of way like, man, you could have kept that. You could have kept that at home.
Right.
You know, I'm not saying they did it for money, but it's like this is the world that they live in. You know, people got mad. Hallie, why'd you take it to the internet? Why'd you take it to the internet? She take everything else to the internet. Like now y'all want to switch up because she take this to the internet?
Because she was being quiet for a minute. They're like, oh, look at our girl, like handling it like a queen. Da, 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 da. Like she ain't spoke out on nothing. Da, da, da. So when she spoke out on the stream and stuff, they were like, oh, dang.
But even then, like when is silence a good thing? Like I don't know. Like I don't know. I just be confused. But
yeah,
the thing is like, you know, I get what you're saying as far as like, you know, it is from what it's shown, from what's been seen, it's challenging already as a black woman to get deals with bigger brands. So when the less you have on your name, the better as far as your longevity of career, as far as your partnerships. But at the same time, it's like I feel like people are making a bigger deal about it than it is. Like the DDG,
like we're making it a bigger deal than what it naturally could have been.
Yeah, I mean, could we look at? And I hate to be weird, we got people like Sexy Red, Megan Thee Stallion, and Lotto doing big deals. Same thing, Cardi B doing big deals, and their life is just.
Sexy Red had a baby, right?
Huh?
She had a baby, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
She was pregnant. She had a whole.
She was pregnant last year, right?
Yeah.
So
it's like, but we didn't make the same big deal about them, and that has to stop with their career. If anything, after she had the baby, her life went up.
Maybe it's just a different standard because of the type of women that they feel like they're a different type of women than these type of women. Maybe there's like a thing like that.
We'll break that down. Well, I'm just saying, like.
No, I'm saying like I think a lot of people hold the particular women that we've been talking about a little more dear or a little more close to the heart because they seen them grow up, and they grew up in a sense of like being more of like quote unquote wholesome, I guess, and more like quote unquote positive and not as like quote unquote ratchet. And so maybe there's more of like a shock factor that they're into these type of men, or that this is like where their life is leading to. I don't know. I feel like there's partially some type of bias in like standards and expectations of what they expect from this group of black women and this group of black women.
I mean, I see that and I understand that. I'm not saying the black communities. I mean, the black community, we talk about it all the time, is like there's a diaspora of black people. Mm-hmm. But I mean, you black, I'm black. I got family members that is successful, and then will have, you know, I have an uncle who's very hood.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know where the shock factor come from. It's like, do you not look into your own families?
I don't know. I think people don't see them as humans all the time. It's just like,
I think
they think they're one dimensional based on like what we know them as, primarily know them as.
Yeah.
And so when they do something like quote unquote out of character from what we've witnessed, it's just like this big thing.
it goes back to that thing too, because on top of this, we might as well like talk about too, like people are finding out. Two notable black celebrities have they find out who their wives are, and if you, I mean, I don't know why the internet's going to a frenzy about it, but they basically found out who Donald Glover's wife is, aka Childish Gambino, which
we've known for. I thought everyone knew. Yeah, like
forever.
I don't understand.
And then Zach Fox, his wife, they found out she was an Asian woman, and everybody's like, "What?"
Yeah,
but it's like
even Jordan Peele, like
yeah.
I thought everyone knew all these things.
So it's like, you know, people were like finding out like who these people's wives are, and they're like, and they don't say it verbatim, but pretty much the argument is like, why didn't they get a black woman? And I can't speak for them. I don't know, and I don't want to speak to them. But the reason I bring it up is like, you know, it's like, who are these people supposed to date? I don't know. Like who are they supposed to date? I'm confused. Like, if you're upset with Halle dating DDG, who's supposed to fill that role for Halle?
I fell in love with the idea.
What?
Halle went on this what show is that? I think it's with Jimmy Fallon, where they put all these celebrities and they do like gaming competitions or whatever. She was like matched with the Asian guy. They were so cute together. I love their little dynamic. I love how they looked. I love how they were on a team together. Not saying she should have ended up with him, but I just thought it was cute. I just thought that was cute.
We're over here. We ship DDG and Haley to get back together. They were a great couple.
I think they can work things out. I think there's a lot of forgiving that has to take place, and a lot of moving past media stuff, like overcoming what's said in the media and like people's thought pieces and stuff, which can be a lot for a relationship to navigate.
I honestly hate to be weird. You know, I'm sounding like an unk. I just feel like the problem is that they don't got no commitment. Because, you know, I'm not saying that will fix everything, because obviously divorce is a thing. But I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how do you expect... It's like, I think being a celebrity is already like you have access to most women, and not truthfully. Yeah. But like the perception is like most women would not be mad at having a DDG. Okay. So, and I'm not saying this place Halle, because I'm pretty sure Halle was like confident in her relationship with him, but it's like, how can you prove a person's committed if they won't take that step? Big Sean and Gene Ackles, another one. Like, how do you prove to that person that you're committed? You know what I mean? Yeah. So I kind of imagine, like, for me, I'm not saying that played a part in their situation, but I just think about it overall in all situations I've been in that didn't work. There was always that argument of like, it's always like the I don't know. Like, you can say all these different things, but how do you get me to believe that? Especially when there's no framework of commitment. Yeah, yeah. Other than I love you, that's why. It's like, but we're not married. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you stop loving me tomorrow, there's nothing stopping you from breaking up with me and leaving. Yeah, and we want to build a life on top of that. Like, come on now, what we saying? Yeah, because even people are like, well, they're committed because they have a kid. Like, that's the commitment. I'm like, it is a commitment, but you know how people walk out on their kid, and you know how many people walk out on their kids too, like. You know what I'm saying? It's a commitment to the kid. That's about it. Look how many kids which one called got? Nick Cannon got. You think he committed to them women or he committed to them kids? He worried about them kids at the end of the day. Yeah. The women just getting taken care of. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't think that's unk of you. I mean, I only say that granted, because I'm younger, but it's like, I'm only saying that because nobody want to hear that. Y'all not committed to each other. That's why it's not working. That's, to me, that's just how my brain work. If y'all was, because I don't think that solves everything. But again, just given my situations that I've been in, I realize when that's not there, it's like, well, how do I find comfort in this situation if there's no layer of that? But also, because it's not there, there's also no intention being said. So y'all kind of living frivolously. Okay. You get me? Yeah. Because like, again, it's like if you tell these people to build a life, You want these people to build a life on top of that. It's like, well, what are they building life on top of? We just love each other. And that worked for some people. Some people really do be so infatuated with each other for the rest of their life that they can do it without a marriage. But I think most people don't have that ability. And they need some kind of binding that lets them know, like, okay, this person's not going nowhere because they did this. Or if they're going somewhere, it got to be like a major. You get me? So I don't know. I that's why I feel like some of these relationships are breaking down the way they are. But yeah, I don't know. I just didn't like. I don't like the argument that one person is bringing it, because I don't feel like the women are bringing the relationship down, but I also don't feel like the men are breaking it down. I think they just, people were either incompatible or, like I stated right now, like there was a lack of commitment, or, you know, I mean, that was the same. We saw that with the Keke Palmer stuff like that. He was mad that Keke Palmer was dancing with Usher. Why? You just had a baby with her because her, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying it's right, but it's like, I mean, from what we understand, it seemed like Keke was all about you, nigga. So it's like,
yeah,
she getting some love, and you was like, I don't know. It's like I didn't get it, but again,
yeah, it felt so out of left field because they're just like, well, like she's brought you in interviews, like you guys been on game shows together, like she's been really happy having family photos, and like everyone knows who you. It's not like she hid him, and it was out just randomly one night with Usher, like
yeah. Like I said, niggas just don't. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Like I said, like they say, niggas be wanting wife qualities.
Yeah.
Without putting a ring on it, and vice versa. Women be wanting husband qualities and don't want to get married. So, but usually be the man. So I don't know. It's very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, I think it's just that it's public. I think everything just makes everything more complicated. It's just too many people involved.
Yeah, I'm trying to be on my Duke Dennis.
I know.
Well, I want nobody to know.
That's how Mark is too.
Marcus Houston?
No, Mark.
Oh, Mark.
Yeah.
Jay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because he be in relationships the way we know who anybody is.
This is
like,
how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Did you see? Yeah, I mean that again. I think that's the best. I mean, I ain't no celebrity, but I imagine if I was,
you're
secret.
a local celebrity.
Local where? Please be real. Don't nobody know who I am. But I wanted to I'm gonna hit one or two more topics real quick before we get out of here, because it's something I really want to talk about, and that was the emotional intelligence.
Okay.
So everybody has seen it, and they probably don't know what it. Everybody's seen tonight's conversations. They usually do panels. They're all dope. They all do a lot of good work. And I wish I had their names. And let me look up their names real quick. Let me address them correctly.
Man, I remember when tonight's conversation started off so small. It was just him, and he had his conversation cards, and now it's like conferences or whatever they be having.
Yeah, them shows.
Like the live shows.
Well, while you're looking it up, I'm gonna present the idea. So we're basically tonight's conversation. If you guys don't know, has an app. Download the app and watch the videos. It's really, really good. And on the app, they do these different conversations. And recently, there's been one that's been going around the internet about emotional intelligence, where they had a guy on there. I think his name was C something. I can't remember his name. Don't even want to recognize his name because he was wilding. But he basically, the Trip Fontaine's on there. I can't remember them girls' names, man. I see them all the time. I can't remember their name. And if anything, I'll put their name in the description. But the tonight's conversation, they have a podcast that they do a panel on, and they answer a bunch of different questions around relationships and things like that, and just navigating them. And people also come up with questions, and they rebuttal to those. They do a lot of good content on their app. They have this podcast where they have like people come on and like share in different I guess you say themes or topics. And recently he had a guy on there, and For lack of a better term. Sorry. For lack of a better term, he was just spewing like dangerous rhetoric. And they had a really, really good like conversation about emotional intelligence and understanding what that is. So basically, the guy in the clip was talking about how the Me Too movement was a ploy for women out of spite to ruin a man's career. That was how he perceived the Me Too movement, which again to me is just so wild. So wild. And the sad part is a lot of people share that same rhetoric. And don't get me wrong, obviously there's people like the Amber Heard situation where people try to misuse that power, but we're not going to put that on everybody. Like not everybody, they said in that episode very well, is that some people were afraid to do it in the first place. And people like you are the reason why they're afraid to do it, because you're going to come out and not only say that you don't know if it's true, but you're going to try to prove them wrong, which imagine trying to be proved wrong when you know something happened. Like it's just wild to me. So, the guy in the white shirt, I don't know his name. I don't know if he's Ace. Let me see.
Ace is he's a brown skin, a little shorter. Shorter. He has a rounder face.
Not rounder face. Yeah, Ace. Ace was the one on there, and he was sharing with him about like just like about emotional intelligence, like understanding that like yes, we can say whatever you want to say, but be aware of the people in the room and what you're saying things, and also just be aware of how your words are affecting people. And there was two big points I wanted to touch on. One, the guy in the black shared this idea that if you still are dealing with your trauma or still affected by your trauma, you're weak, or it's a weakness. And Ace was saying like, you know, while he might be past his trauma and have dealt with it and went to therapy and did all the things he needs to do, if he sits and thinks about it long enough, there's obviously like
an effect that takes place. Yeah,
there's something like you say, he'll get emotional, or break him down and things like that, because it's obviously you can't never change what happened to you. Like it happened. You can never get rid of that part. And I think that was like, I don't know, I just wanted to bring light to that about that idea of like, just because you've healed from something doesn't mean it won't affect you still.
Yeah.
It kind of goes to like to forgiveness. Just because I forgave you, like if you cut my arm off, it's being dramatic. If you cut my arm off and it was an accident, like, oh, it's okay, Ariel, I forgive you. The arm don't grow back like, oh, Ariel said apologies, so the arm grows back. Your arm's still gone.
Right.
You get me? That's how a lot of times when things happen, people are like, oh, I said sorry, it should be done. It's like, no. So like, I don't know, what is your thoughts on that concept of like, you know, even though you heal through things, it still can affect you.
So definitely it can still affect you. Obviously, it's part of something that happened to you or something you experienced that formed you into the person you are now. It's part of your story. No matter what, like you say, you can't just erase it just because you've healed from it. And as Ace put it, like if you ponder on it for long enough, like it's still gonna have some type of emotional reaction to it, or something's gonna react to that. So for me personally, when he says like, oh, it's a weakness, like, yeah, I guess sort of you can see it as a weakness. Because I'm not sure where he was going with that. To be honest, I'm not sure what his intention was when he used it for weakness per se.
His point he was making is that like if you're still dealing with this, you're weak, and you need to become like stronger, almost
like resilient.
Yeah, like because it shouldn't still be affecting you. which again sounds stupid to me.
Yeah, who's to say what should or shouldn't still be affecting you and when it should stop affecting you?
And, well, I guess in his eyes, he felt like it should have. At a certain point, you should heal past it to the point where it don't affect you no more. It should be so far removed that it don't even do nothing. Which again, I'll say like this: most people can't do that. I understand, like, because I'm deeply disassociative sometimes, so I can get it from that perspective. But that's not normal.
Yeah, it's not natural or healthy.
Yeah.
I watched part of the clip, or watched the clip that the primary clip you sent me, and that man, like just being someone who,
Oh, you talking about the other clip I sent you?
Yeah, of his response.
You're wrong.
Yes.
We gotta explain the clip. They don't know if they haven't seen it.
So the clip was basically another woman on the show was addressing some of the things he was saying about protecting women and holding space for women in a sense of like their experiences with being a victim of violence or being like sexually assaulted, things like that. And she was pretty much calling him out like, you are not listening. You're not here to listen. You're not here to understand. You're here to kind of just get what you want to say out, and also kind of just waiting for me to stop talking so you can like make your statement and like look some like put on this whatever his intention was, I guess, to give you, I don't know, to be seen.
Pretty much.
And as soon as she finishes that statement, he does the "you're wrong." And it's just like, you just proved her point. Like, how is that your first reaction after everything she just said? That's your first reaction, which means you're operating out of your ego, and you're not listening. You're not trying to understand anything anyone else is talking about. And so, just knowing that perspective of him and his character, alongside the other conversation of like him saying that about the Me Too movement, like adds up, you know. Because obviously he doesn't have a lot of space for empathy or even sympathy at that point. And I don't know who's dealing with him. Like, I feel bad for any women in his life, whether it's a lover, a friend, a relative. Like, I don't know how he's operating. And if he has
like
friends,
that probably a lot of male friends around him.
Sounds like it. He might be into men, to be honest.
I love to do that. That's not funny.
Well, it's just like, do you hate us? Like, what is going on? I don't understand. You can't even just sit and listen to a woman. I don't know.
Well, I mean, granted, like I said, he's doing the same thing to the men too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. A lot of people are like, why aren't the men speaking up more, like shutting him down, or like?
That's because they saw that one clip in the whole interview. All the Ace and the other guy all he was doing was stopping him because. Like Ace says, like, man, you know, you saying you here to protect women, but if you look around you, got a woman next to you and a woman across from you, and they the most uncomfortable people in the room.
The woman next to him was just like shut down.
Yeah.
Like.
Then yeah, I didn't hear her speak any clips I've seen. She didn't speak. So yeah, it's like think about what you're saying. You're saying you're doing this in a way to protect women, but the people you're trying to protect are the people you're hurting the most. So it's like, what are we? What's really happening?
And I don't get what his perspective of is like. How is he seen trying to like how is that aligning with him saying like trying to protect women? Like, I don't get it.
I don't remember. He was just saying that's what the guy had said earlier, and I think the big argument he makes is that like people are too soft, and that whole think about any red pill content.
Yeah,
women need to be held accountable. We've been too soft. It's not whatever. We need to call. That's what it is. We need to call it what it is. We need to, if women say these things, we need to like follow, basically check and make sure they like blah, blah, like basically there need to be consequences for people who lying.
Yeah.
And things like that. And it's like, I'm not saying he said those things. I'm saying that's like the rhetoric that he was like swirling in. And I just don't understand. Because like my grandma say, it's not what you. Grandma say this, my cousin say this all the time too. It's not about what you do; it's about how you do it.
Because even the woman that was speaking to him was like, men are victims as well and struggle with.
He said Ace is a victim of
Oh yeah. Of assault,
being touched. So it's like,
and that was still his response of, "You're wrong." Like,
yeah,
my spirit was so shooketh that
I heard that when I said that you're wrong, and they didn't. I mean, I think he ended after that.
Yeah, he said something else, and then they ended the clip.
Yeah, because it was like, and that's another thing. Like, I don't know. Anyway, not to get too deep into it, because again, I haven't seen the full thing, but I don't need to see the full thing to know who that nigga is, and that's all. You see it in a little bit. That's all you need to do. Yeah. But there was another part that Ace said that really stood out to me was that, again, when I touched on it a little bit earlier, is like, when it comes to him, and especially like rhetoric's like they need to prove this and that, whatever. Nobody's saying that you're wrong for having a lack of belief. The problem is you actively trying to disprove something. You get me? Because if you allow things to happen naturally, if someone's lying, it's going to come out. Amber Heard is a good example. They said what they said. They went to court, and it all came out that it was cap. She was the one being abusive to him and things like that. And the third, so it's like, again, I'm not saying we trust the justice system and things like that, but I'm saying like allow things to play out the way they're supposed to play out. Again, yes. Are there situations, and I know multiple situations of like the dude, there was a actor, a child actor, I can't remember his name, but he got killed because the girl lied and said that he had touched her inappropriately, and the two guys who killed him ended up going to jail. One went to jail for a life, the other one went to jail for a few years, and she went to jail for some time. So it's like, yeah, there's cases and like stuff like that where somebody passes away, but like we're not gonna act like that's like the majority of cases, and we're not gonna act like the majority of women are going to that level, and misusing something so serious as that in that context. Another thing that he did touch on, I want to touch on this before I forget it too, is that trauma versus SA. Yes, is SA a version of trauma, but he made a point too that like we need to be careful and not water down SA, because it's a whole different level. It's a whole different thing. Trauma is my mama didn't love me, my daddy didn't love me, I didn't grow up with many things, kids made fun of me. Trauma is a bunch of that, is the combination of that stuff. SA is like its whole like a whole different level. Yeah, it's like a degradation type of situation. And he made a point too that to be careful when we talk about rationalizing, like you need to get over your trauma. It's like we don't want to throw that in there. Like yes, you need to get over having like low self-esteem, but like we don't attribute that to the same thing of like, SA, like that's a whole different level. So I did want to make that point clear. But yeah, the second point about the the actively disproven, like what are your thoughts on like people who like, you'll see like people do like make these think pieces of like why this person is capping or XYZ. Like
I see that mostly when people wait to come out and say something. Like why they wait so long, or why they wait for someone else to speak up first before they say like, oh, this person also harmed me as well. And it's just like, because of your your thought pieces, and like you like you said, actively trying to disprove this person. Like obviously this person didn't feel safe to come out and share what happened to them, and they knew there was going to be an uphill battle to prove that they were actually assaulted, and it might have sort of felt more safe for them to do it after someone else came forward, someone who quote unquote was more brave to come forward first. And so I see that mostly in those circumstances where like someone has allegations, one person comes out and then like, maybe 4 more people come out like, oh yeah, that happened to me too. And that's when they're trying to discredit like, oh, it can't be this many people who stay quiet for this long. It's like, do you know how hard it is for someone to come out and be like, I was pretty much assaulted, whatever, at whatever level it could have been, and get this kind of pushback. Like that's gonna happen no matter what, just because of the society we're in. Like no one unfortunately believes someone off rip unless you're like close to them and you have that intimate relationship with them, hopefully. And even sometimes in that, like I see that with parents and children go to their parents, hey, cousin so and so, uncle so and so, daddy so and so, auntie so and so, and they don't really believe in their own child. So it's just like, how are you going to count that against someone because they couldn't say it years ago when it first happened? Mm-hmm. So I see that happen more in those circumstances where people wait. And I just feel like it's unfortunate that that's how like people's mindsets are set up and how we operate now in society. And things like this interview. And we were talking about this too, like how that gets pushed because it is kind of, one is feed into one, like you said, kind of like the red pill stuff, but it's also like interesting or entertaining or like people can resonate with it, but it's just like, but is it something we should be engaging with so normally or so frequently? And it's like out viewing the positive things and the positive education of the subject. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. It's not that I feel overwhelmed by it because how I get overwhelmed. Yeah. But I just feel like I just hate that this is where we're at and this is just what it is. Yeah. And like, yes, we can try to make change around the conversation and the procedures around like someone coming forth and stating that they've been harmed and like what that looks like as far as like, I guess, reframing people's mindset and perspective around it. But it's going to take forever. And it's like, we don't have forever. Exactly. And this is just what we have to.
Yeah. You can only do what you can do in your circles, right?
Yeah.
And that's like my big thing. Cause it's like I always think about like people conflate things a lot. There has been with the Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion thing. There's been like a disdain starting to brew for at the time. There was a disdain brewing for Megan Thee Stallion already, and then the Tory thing happens, and that gets coupled with that like, Tory didn't do it. Tory didn't do it. It's like, bro, listen. While I've never really cared for Megan Thee Stallion, I still don't think it's right for anything wrong to happen. Same thing I said when the Lizzo thing happened. I never cared for Lizzo, but I don't think it's right that people was trying to do Lizzo wrong at the same time.
Yeah.
Just because Megan Thee Stallion lied that she had sexual intercourse with Tory Lanez, don't change the fact that Tory Lanez shot a gun.
Or was in possession of a gun, period. Like, with people,
the whole like maybe like the dance B word and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I don't know about all that part, but the thing that he got charged for is that you fired the gun. Mm-hmm. It's like, bro, we know you fired the gun. It's like, there's no context in which you get so mad at a woman that you fire a gun. That you can like, it's not like she was assaulting you, nothing like that. So it's like, so yeah, her lying that she had, what does that change?
Bro, the amount of people was just like, I told you she was lying. And it was like, but that doesn't change the fact that we all knew she was lying. Like,
that was the thing that made Happy Week. Is like, bro, we all knew that she was lying.
They were like, can't believe nothing she say. She's just a liar. And I'm just like, but she got shot, obviously. Like,
you know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, like, the only thing like I said, again, that don't take nothing away from the case.
Yeah.
I don't think it's right that Tory Lanez shot a gun. I don't know if he shot it at her. I don't remember that. I think he just got in trouble for shooting a gun in general. Mm. But it still don't make it right. You shouldn't have done that. And that don't change that no matter how I feel about Megan. And like I said, the whole Partisan Fontaine stuff came out after that, whatever, and I'm dating her, setting up her, and she lying the whole time, whatever, and she messing with dude on the side. What does that got to do with anything? That don't change nothing.
Yeah.
And like that's the point I'm making, where it comes to, like, the whole like trying to prove the disbelief. It's like, yes, Megan Thee Stallion should be protected in the sense of like, no, we're not gonna make Megan Thee Stallion look. We're not gonna change Megan Thee Stallion's story because she lied about something else. Okay, this happened though. Like, it don't really matter. So like,
it's unrelated.
Yeah, like, so it's like, why, again, like you said, to your point about giving people the benefit of the doubt, like, yes, you'll see cases like this where foster kids will be like victims of certain of different like assaults like that. And they're they just be they're given their position. Sometimes they just lie for attention, stuff like that. It's like, huh? There was cases like that I've read a long time ago. Actually, one of the cases that led to catching one of the guys. Come to find out, I remember the mom ended up breaking down after that because she was the main one who told the police officer, "Oh, don't believe her," when she was saying what happened. And stuff like that is like, bro, I think we should lean heavier on protecting people and standing up. Maybe even if you don't feel uncomfortable saying like, this happened, at least protecting that person can have that right to go through due process.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's the bare minimum, creating space for them, like, to do such a thing. And I'm not calling them weak for taking so long. What took you so long? Man, when you got to process something, bro, sometimes, you know what I'm saying? It's men who probably been through stuff. They ain't never did no charges. They weak now because they just didn't do no charges. Like, come on, what are we saying? Don't make no sense. So that was the big thing for me, was just like pointing out those 2 points for people to be aware of like, because I think we do these things subconsciously and don't really think about it. And I did want to bring light to it because we all subconsciously be trying to find reasons to disprove people. And it's like, what happened if we just believe them?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying make no crazy judgment call off just the belief, but give them benefit of the doubt, because it ain't gonna hurt nobody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And also, like I said, just being aware of how you talking about said conversation amongst other people.
Yeah, I had someone I know previously. He was upset because he got in trouble at work for talking about, I guess him and a few other guys were talking about, women, sexual conduct, something of the sense. And a female coworker complained about it, like, oh, they're talking about this and we're in a workstation together and it's making her uncomfortable. And so they had to go through like a sexual harassment training and stuff like that. And he was just like, that was not sexual harassment. We were just having a conversation, blah, blah, blah. It was just like, you're in a public space. You're in a work environment. Like, there's ways you should conduct yourself and be aware and like be respectful of the space you're in and the people who's around you who can hear what you're talking about. But he just still, like, it just wasn't in him to understand. And so I feel like there's a lot of people like that, men and women, who's just like, they should have been listening, eavesdropping. It's just like, I'm right here.
You should also have decorum.
Right. Like, I'm literally packaging stuff with you. I'm supposed to just ignore you, and we're not allowed to wear headphones or nothing at work. Like,
well, not to mention, I'm supposed to be made to feel uncomfortable because this is what you want to talk about.
Right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, come on, bro. It's like, that's like if on the opposite end, if a woman started to talk about natural bodily functions that are happening to them as far as like periods and things like that, I'm pretty sure people are like, I feel uncomfortable about that. Well, she put it be like, well, you're gonna have to get over it, or whatever. It's like that double-edged sword. Like, bro, don't be double standarding it up, bro. Like, what do you mean? It'd be different if he was talking about like, oh, I'm attracted to this girl, this whatever. But when you start talking like getting into the nitty gritty, it's like, no, bro, no, you shouldn't be doing that in any situation. Because again, my logic is always this: how would you talk in front of your grandma? And if that's not something that you say in front of your grandma, why would you say it in public, out and about?
Right, in a work setting, in any setting.
Yeah, any
just
setting.
Like outside of your like homies.
Yeah, but even then, you still got to be careful, right? Because
right.
I've had situations multiple times where people like, I'm like, listen, however you want to live your life in your presence and around other people you were, that's cool. How I am, that's just not how I roll.
Yeah. My sister had an incident that happened to her in college where there was this gay guy and he used to come back to school after every weekend and like just talk about all his sexcapades and like loud. Like everyone can hear him. And her and my cousin were in class together. And so my cousin was like, hey, do you mind like, not talking about those things? Like this like the third week you don't came in here, talk about all the like things you explored and experimented with over the weekend and this and that. And like we're just here like trying to do our work, whatever. And he went off with my cousin, trying to talk about her, all these things. And my sister went off on him, of course.
Yeah.
But it was just like, people like that is just like, we're in a classroom.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think I want to know how many people you've been with, what you did with them, how you did it,
I never understood that logic.
It's just like, and you don't think that's sexual harassment that I have to be exposed to these things?
Especially when I asked you to stop.
Right. Why are you mad at me? And she did it politely. It wasn't like she like cussed him out or anything. She was just like asked him like,
hey, this is the third time you didn't did it.
Yes.
Even if you did it one time, it's like, oh, my bad. Just, you was just talking, but it's like every time you come here, it's like, what are we talking about? So yeah, again, like people don't be aware. People don't care. Really,
Yeah.
Truthfully, people don't really care.
Don't care.
So, that's whack. But on a lighter note, before we head out of here, one more and then we're done. I'll let you go. I'll free you. There was a girl the girl who got the stem stuck in her tooth.
Okay.
I put this one on here just for Ariel. I feel like this is Ariel's type of content. I did. I feel like this is the type of world that I feel like Ariel.
That'd be like super. Okay.
What?
I was intrigued because I think I would eat something like that, and so I was like, "Dang, maybe I don't want to try it."
I don't want to try that thing.
Try the dish anymore.
So there was a lady. Her name was Alexa, and I think her name on Instagram or in TikTok is a Chendrix or something like that.
Mm.
And she basically, I went to this restaurant and ate this like fancy salad that looked good. It looked like a good salad, but it had like wildflowers in it. And she said as she was eating the salad, she like felt something like poke her gum. And when she went to like try to like retrieve it, she felt like she was pushing it deeper in her gum. So she ended up going to the bathroom with her sister, and they weren't able to find anything or see anything in there, whatever. But she just had this like soreness in her cheek, and her cheek was getting more and more swollen.
Mm.
So she said she felt like something was like in the side of her cheek or whatever. She ended up going all the way to. She ended up going to the dentist. They couldn't find anything, but they felt like the pressure there. So they sent it to our oral surgeon, in which they did x-rays, stuff like that. And they said they couldn't see anything. And the oral surgeon ended up saying like, you just must have traumatized your gum, which after 2 or 3 days would inflame it.
Mm.
And this is probably just dealing with the residuals from that, or give you some ibuprofen and give you something else to take care of it, deal with it. Send her home. She's taking ibuprofen and it works. So she's like, maybe I'm just tripping. I don't know. And then the video that we see is the final video where she's like doing what I do too all the time, like just playing in your, like, feel like something's there. So she's like doing that thing. Like ever eat popcorn, you feel that kernel in your tooth, but you can't see it, but it's like, I feel it.
Mm.
She's doing that, and this big old like stem comes out her gum, and she was just shook. She's like, I always knew it was there. And I don't know, I thought it was a funny story to share because how crazy.
It's so, and from when I saw some video, she was like showing how swollen it was. It was just like, it was so swollen, because when it's something swollen, that means like there's extra like fluid or something inflaming it, right?
Yeah.
So that's probably why they couldn't see it, because it was so swollen. So I'm just like, why didn't they just give her something to help the swelling go down and then like re-examine her or something? But thankfully the medications helped that, and it came out on its own, apparently. But yeah, I know how it is to have irritation in my mouth, so I don't know. And I feel like she, from what we've seen, she dealt with it pretty good, but me, I would have been in crisis.
Well, man, she seemed, from what I've seen, like, I mean, granted, she was not video, she was like in crisis, but she was like crying.
Yeah.
In certain videos, because she's like, it hurts so bad. And then you're getting told, that
There's
no, it's all
nothing
right.
there.
Yeah, it's all right. Like we can't find anything. And she's like, and I knew, like, I just felt it. So yeah, it was. I think it was. I feel like I've never had a situation similar to that.
Yeah, I was trying to think of one. I don't think
I think the only thing I've ever had was like when you like have a splinter.
Mm.
And you can feel that. You can feel the splinter, but you
rub.
can't get it out. And you just gotta wait for it to kind of push out a little bit, and then you can finally grab it with some tweezers. That's how I thought about it in my head. I'm like, I do remember those splinters, and it'd be like that mug would hurt.
Your mouth, a splinter.
That's basically what it was. Basically, it was a big old splinter in her mouth, and a gum at that, boy.
And then when she showed herself, I was like,
when I saw it coming out,
big.
I said, oh, that's big. That's like bigger than I thought it was in my head.
It was so big.
Yeah. So it had me weak because I don't know. I just, you know, it makes me think of like, you know, sometimes are we doing too much with food?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I think we've been at that point though.
You know, like, why is food causing me to have splinters in my mouth?
Right.
Like I get the flowers are edible, but like the flowers really add to the eating experience. Like I'm the type of person anyway. If I saw that, I probably would have put them to the side. Like, oh, this is cute.
Yeah, yeah.
Not actually eat them.
Cheap for the whole thing.
Yeah.
To the point of food, I saw a Megan Stallion video. Hey Meg, we just talked about you.
Hey Meg, welcome back.
She went to Japan. I don't know. She's somewhere in Asia, in an Asian country, and they're eating some type of fish that's poisonous. Oh, puffer fish.
Mm-hmm. The sushi.
Yeah, and they were telling him like, oh, like if you don't prepare it like the correct way, like it can kill you. So it's just things like that. I'm just like, there's multiple dishes I've heard of. Like if you don't prepare it right, like you out of here. Like yeah. So I'm just like, we've been doing things with food we shouldn't be doing. Like,
I mean, yeah, but you're right. But I guess the difference between a pufferfish is more about if you puncture the sac or something like that, if you don't dissect it correctly, it's messed up. But like I'm talking about like, you know, like when I see like stuff like, I don't know, kind of like that sandwich you had earlier today. I love a good like a good toast situation.
Yeah, it was too crazy.
The first thing I said to her, I was like, I feel like it's gonna tear up the roof of my mouth. It's like, why would I eat something that's gonna do this to me? Like Captain Crunch, I haven't had Captain Crunch in years. You know why?
Yeah.
Because I don't need to exfoliate the inside of my mouth when I'm eating cereal. You know, I just want to eat cereal. And sometimes it's like, it's certain stuff where I'm like, you know, they did good. And other ones I'm like, y'all just really went overboard.
It's fully, I never thought of that. I never thought of that.
Bro, I always get into like new cheek skin eating that stuff. Especially if I eat a big bowl. You think I'm joking? I'm being so serious.
New cheek skin.
You ain't never had, especially when you put a big old mouthful and it's like you trying to, anyway, don't get me started. But
it's fully
yeah. What is your deal?
It really is. That's really is what it is. I just never thought of it that way.
Okay, I'm good. Welcome to my brain. But yeah, I don't know. I just thought about all the different foods. I'm just trying to think of like if there's any foods that I've had that I probably was doing too much. I've seen the wildflowers on them. I've seen the ginger. Wasabi is something I feel like is. I'm not the biggest wasabi fan, but I feel like sometimes I see people get wasabi. I'm like, I don't get it. Don't get the hype.
I used to avoid wasabi because the first time I had wasabi was, I think my sister bought home sushi for me, her and my mom, and in my plate or whatever it was, I didn't know what it was. She didn't explain it to me. I was younger. She didn't explain it to me, so I'm just like, okay, let's see what this sauce is. Whatever. I put just a tiny bit on my finger, just like kind of taste it.
Burnt you up.
I ran so quickly to the kitchen sink and I was like, ow, like, what is this, right? And it's later on, she tells me whatever. So ever since then, I was like, oh, it's too hot for me. I can't handle it. Like, whatever. It's not my thing. Last year, I went to sushi. One of my friends, I came to visit.
He mixed it in the soy sauce.
Yes. He was like, oh, you have to mix the soy sauce. And So I started doing it like that. I was like, oh, it's like the perfect little kick. And now I eat wasabi.
Yeah. Yeah.
It tastes good to me. Once it's like not a lot, like not a,
you know, it's not my thing.
No.
It's not my thing. Not my thing. And I love spice. You know, I love spice.
Yeah.
Somebody, it's not my thing. It don't really do nothing to me. Don't really have that splah.
The splah.
That splah on it, you know.
I don't know. It does something for me now.
It do something for me though. It really moves my spirit.
It does.
That's so funny. But is there anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think we're good.
Nah. Well, I appreciate you guys again for watching the Special Friends podcast. If you guys enjoyed it, again, do us a favor, like, comment, subscribe,
And rate and share.
Yes, rate the podcast 5 stars on Apple Music and Spotify. Also, very much so share. I think, and if you enjoyed it, share this with somebody that you think would also enjoy it. Also, share your guys' ideas. Like, what are you guys' thoughts on some of the things we talked about? Are there foods that you ever had that were doing too much? How do you feel? How do you feel about, people, just not giving people the benefit of the doubt? What are your thoughts on some of the young celebrities out here having babies? What are all the thoughts? We need to know down below. And as always, I appreciate you guys. I'll catch you in the next one.
Bye.
You're my special friend.